Then we got to share and do all types of shit. I mean, are you ready to talk about Bobby Lashley winning the WWE title? A whole hour of Bobby Lashley talk. Yes, an hour of WWE. Next.
Sports.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Stuff About Sports. Yes, it's the Facebook felon Germ here with the prettier Corey Burt. What's up, man?
Not a whole lot, dude. It's Tuesday, and already this week feels like it should be Friday. Like it's just been 2 long-ass days so far, but it's my favorite night of the week. So, ready to get to it. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I had to show I had to pay homage, pay tithe to Tim Tebow with our network. Thank you, Tebow. Sadly, he retired from the great sport of baseball. Baseball needed him, and we shunned him, much like the followers in the Romans turned their backs on Jesus. The baseball world turned their backs on Tim Tebow.
No, I don't. No, I mean if he was better, he would have made it. But it's not like they shunned him away. Let's be honest here. Let's not look.
They never gave him a shot. Like, I mean,
you've got to prove yourself. Look, this is 2-week-old news here.
I know.
We've already hashed it out via text message. But yes, that lovely shirt Germ is wearing. Great story about that shirt. Much like what Tim Tebow did for the New York Mets organization, brought a lot of charity and great charity work to the area. That shirt, all proceeds will go to one of Tim's charities that he was running in the New York City area. So if you're a big Tebow fan, Met fan, check it out. Buy the shirt. All the proceeds go right to charity.
Absolutely. It's a limited time edition. We're going to have it up for another couple weeks, probably through spring training. And then like Bert was saying, all the proceeds are going to Tim Tebow's charity. But yeah, we definitely want to show love to Tim Tebow and talk baseball, which is going to be on the topic. Bert, spring training kicked off a couple of days ago. Yep. So we're going to talk a little baseball. We're going to talk about Russell Wilson house shopping for a new kitchen so he can go cooking, maybe, possibly. And then we're going to have some fun today. We're going to do fun rankings. We're going to rank our top 5 favorite teams, not in one sport, but in all sports. Like, there's always that fun team that everybody has their eye on. We're going to give our top 5 teams to watch for the next, let's say, couple years. Not really a time limit, just who you think are on the horizon of being a really fun team to watch. So if you have a top 5 favorite or top 5 fun team that you want to share with us, please hit it up in the comment section. We will read it on the show. And then we are also going to give, with the announcement of NCAA coming back, the EA Sports bringing back NCAA football, we are going to rank our top 5 favorite sports video games. So if you have top 5 favorite games, please hit us up on the comment section, and we will get to that a little later. And what else, Bert? What else were we going to talk about today? There was something else.
Some best stuff weekend. I think I got a lot of topics for that.
Yes.
And I don't know if we're making that, former U.S. gymnastics coach, John Getter. I don't know if that was going to be a full topic or if that's just best stuff. That was.
We could talk about it. We could talk about it.
Charges brought against him, ended up killing himself. But hey, Trisha.
Hey, Trigger Trish. What up? Baseball. Mets baseball is back. Yup. Yes. I just got mine yesterday. So yeah. And that money, like I said, went straight to Tim Tebow's charity. Thank you for supporting the network and Tim Tebow. Ricky. Yes.
What up, Ricky?
What up? Pain Train Pipe Bomb. Go check them out. Yes. Absolutely. No, top 5 favorite sports video games, Ricky. Make sure we are stuff about sports. But go give us your favorite video games. I kind of want to see where you're at with that. We're gonna test our friendship here a little bit. And so let's just get right into the best stuff that we saw from the sports week. I'll go first, Bert. We've talked about this a couple shows ago, and I'm really happy about this. And it's just worth a quick mention that Karen Schofler, whatever her name is, the former owner of the Atlanta Dream, the WNBA Atlanta Dream, was forced out. She sold her stake in that team, and she no longer owns it. So shout out to everybody who's made that a mission. And I definitely am really happy about that based on her horrible comments and action.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you called her Karen, even though her name is Kelly Loeffler, because it's just so fitting that she's acting like a Karen, and obviously her behavior didn't warrant her owning, or at least partial owning that team in itself. So everybody that stood up, including the players, making that brave stance in itself, led to this, and I'm so glad because yes, her values did not align with the individuals that play for her. So it was time for her to go. She just was not the right fit altogether. So keeping it in basketball news, I don't know if you heard about Jeremy Lin. Not happy in the G Leagues right now, claiming that he was called coronavirus on the court. Of course, as you know, if anybody's following the news recently, since the coronavirus pandemic hit in the U.S., there has been an uptick against crime against Asian Americans and Asian individuals that live in the USA, especially in heavily populated areas, so much as like physical assaults and other very violent crimes in itself. And I guess athletes are, of course, no exception whatsoever. And if it is true, which I don't know why Jeremy Lin would come out and saying that if it wasn't true, I mean, it's absolutely despicable and has no place in the game. And I hope that the G League does their investigations and finds out, you know, what exactly is going on and actually hands out some like reprimands from that too.
Yeah, for sure. I remember Kenyon Martin when Jeremy Lin was playing for the Brooklyn Nets, when Jersey Nets just went to Brooklyn and Jeremy Lin was on that team. If you remember, he used to rock dreadlocks and all types. You know, it was, you know, he's a fan favorite player, right? And Kenyon Martin, retired player, former Nets player back in Jersey Nets fame. He said, you know, he had some things to say about him wearing dreadlocks. Like, hey, what is an Asian guy doing rocking dreadlocks? And Jeremy Lin was very. He eloquently buried Kenyon Martin by saying, hey, man, it's cool that you don't understand why I think dreadlocks are cool and how much I respect Black culture enough to even have dreadlocks. I mean, you have Chinese tattoos, but it's cool. You know what I mean? Like, it's very, you know, and so it's very odd. And as a Black man, I am aware that other ethnicities face racism. It is sad when somebody like Jeremy Lin, who has had all his education and all his life living here in the States, has to deal with being called some ignorant, you know, by some ignorant jackass who's not half as good at what Jeremy Lin does for a living than, you know, they do for a living, and they're criticizing him and calling him coronavirus. And this, you know, this guy, it's sad. It's really sad. I'm glad that he has a platform and he has enough of a fan base where when he speaks, it matters. So I do think he'll eventually find his way back to the NBA, probably with the Golden State Warriors later on in this season, as he's affiliated with that team. If not, I'm sure he'll end up on a professional team at some point. But yeah, that I read that. I was just disgusted. There's no place in it. These people on the internet, these doofs, jump on there and talk all this shit, especially to professional athletes, which, you know, it doesn't make sense. And especially other G League players. Like, you're all there to get to the pro leagues. Why are you, you know, you should be worried about yourself. Well, like, why are you worried about Jeremy Lin? So
I mean, there's a million other things you can call someone apart from obviously tearing them apart, like just, you know, from racial slurs and shit like that. You know, I mean, just the simplest insults can really just throw someone, like, call him a dope, like, you dope, like, you doof.
It's not original.
Like,
it's not original to attack somebody based on their skin color, or like calling a Chinese person coronavirus literally takes zero creativity. Like, I'm all for jabbing and making fun of people, but I mean, you got to do a little bit better than
I'll
that
never
guy.
forget Sean Avery was one of the best small tough guy in the NHL, and I say small because just purely based off height in terms of what's average in the NHL, but man, he was tough as nails and would always be willing to drop the gloves. But he was the biggest shit talker, had to throw people off their game and get in their heads. And he was mic'd up one game, and I just remember him like literally looking at someone, calling him an effing loser. And I remember like wow, that is just, it's so impactful. Like when someone just looks at you and just calls you a loser to your face, as opposed to thinking of something so like awful or off base like that, it just hits harder. So I don't even know why they got to go to it.
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Harry, what's up, man? Let's give a quick shot. Yes, Bobby Lashley, after 15 years, started his career in WWE. Left, became an MMA fighter, probably one of the more successful ex-WWE guys to go into MMA. Maybe not as high profile as a Brock Lesnar, but he definitely had a better fighting record and fought better opponents than Brock Lesnar. And then goes back to wrestling in the indie scene, comes back to WWE and kind of like shuffles around and gets caught in these bad storylines. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, man, he just wins. He gets put up with a really good manager and MVP, and wins the WWE title, and it's well deserved. I like seeing things like that. You got to build new stars to keep a company like the traveling circus that is the WWE alive. You can't just have the same guys winning over and over again. It's nice to see a fresh face. So shout out to Bobby Lashley. Well deserved. My best stuff was seeing JJ Watt signing with the Arizona Cardinals. Now, Bert, I'm not the biggest JJ Watt fan. And the reason why I'm putting it as my best stuff is that it only confirms what I've been saying about JJ Watt this entire time. And as you know, I am the voice of reason. And as you know, I am always knowing. This move was purely JJ Watt being JJ Watt. He doesn't care about winning. This proves it. You care about winning, you go to the Arizona Cardinals, my guy. And it's not, don't let it get lost that this happened to be the team. What is it? 1 million, 2 million, or 2 years, 15 million a year. I can't imagine he got that offer.
Was it that much? I thought it was only 23 million for 2 years.
Whatever it is,
it's in the same ballpark.
It's in the same ballpark. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's that no other team was offering him that much money, and he chooses the Arizona Cardinals, the ultimate me guy, proving yet again that I was always right about JJ Watt. It's not about the team. It's about
23 guaranteed.
See that? You see what I'm saying, Bert? And he's sitting there telling us that it's about winning, leaving the Texans were about winning. No, it's about you, JJ Watt, and it's always been about you. It's JJ Watt for an hour on Hard Knocks flipping a tire. Adam, 23. Yes, see, that's ridiculous. Imagine, Adam. Imagine paying old ass JJ Watt 23 million for 1 year of guaranteed money. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, so check this out, because Bills Mafia thought that for sure JJ should have signed with him, and I honestly think so too. Arizona was a weird choice for me. The only thing I could think of is he wanted to be as close to that part of the country as possible and not go up to Buffalo in itself. But this is why I love Twitter. Is someone tweeted out, Arizona Cardinals signed JJ Watt for a 2-year deal worth 31 million and 23 guaranteed, and then it said Bills Mafia, and this was the audio with it.
What? What an idiot! Oh, what a loser! Good.
Yeah.
For me and you.
Oh, from Wedding Crashers, Will Ferrell's part, absolutely brilliant. But I mean, look, it is weird, right? I mean, I don't know if he met with the team and just has a lot more faith in Kyler in the offense than anywhere else. But I mean, he honestly probably could have written his ticket to at least 20 other NFL teams. So there has to be a little bit more of a core reason as to why he's down there.
There has to. I mean, it doesn't have to be 20 more teams. But you already said it, Buffalo, and then Ricky just commented he actually was proposed more by Cleveland and one other team. So
I think Green Bay was after him too, right?
So come on, Bert. Honestly, you're trying to win, like JJ Watt proclaims he was. You have the 3 teams on the table, and remember
the 3 teams that went far into the playoffs too.
Right.
Yeah. So
no, I'm saying the 3 teams. So we have the Cardinals, or the team that he chose, right? So the high school players have the hats on the table when they select a college. All right. So you have a Green Bay hat, you have a Buffalo hat, and you have an Arizona Cardinals hat. I mean, come on, which one are you picking? I'll tell you. I mean, it's not the Cardinals hat. It don't matter. It's not.
No, I mean, for me, I'm gonna look obviously based off who's still going to be there when the season starts up again in September, but also what did that team and that team's chemistry do this past season? And you have Green Bay, the Browns, and even the Bills, if they're all after you, and who knows, but hey, there he is. He'll be in red and black next season, and let's see if that actually helps Arizona. So
Adam says Arizona could have spent their money better than what. Yeah, because think about it. They needed all types of help. The running back situation was their offensive line. How about that? Let's find a way to. I mean, Kyler Murray had to have had 1,000 yards behind the line of scrimmage last year. He was running every time I watched the Arizona game, even against that Buffalo Bills game with the Hail Murray that they won, luckily, because the Buffalo Bills just decided they wanted to intercept the ball instead of swatting it down.
Yeah.
And it's not behind me that DeAndre Hopkins is on that team and he wants to. That's his guy. I get it, but. Don't tell me it's like don't piss on my leg and tell me that it's raining, bro. Don't tell me that it's about winning. And you go to the Arizona Cardinals when you have Aaron Rodgers and you have Josh Allen, who are better quarterbacks than Kyler Murray is. It's just, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous statement that he makes.
I honestly think athletes should just stop making those statements. Like, sign somewhere because, like I said, why'd you sign there? I wanted to.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, do you need more of a reason? No, it's your employment. If you want to go somewhere, if you think you look good in the team colors and you want to go there, who gives a shit? Murray should have picked basketball. Was he a basketball player?
Baseball.
Oh, baseball. Jeez, I can't even read baseball. Yeah. Oh, well, maybe he should have. But he's no Russell Wilson, who we'll talk about here in a little later. Well, since we're on the subject of, I guess, the color red with the Arizona Cardinals. So I don't know if you saw on Sunday, huge tribute in the golf world to Tiger Woods. Everybody was wearing power red to support their injured colleague in itself, which I thought was very, very nice. And Tiger tweeted out too, thanks so much for the support. It really means a lot, as he's recovering in the hospital right now after that horrific car crash last week. So good thing he is okay, and long road to recovery for him. But it was a really nice sight to be seen, everybody wearing red on Sunday.
Sticking with the team that wears red, we go from the golfers who were making very smart decisions. Somebody check the spelling of segue in that way that Mike is using. Let's figure out if that's correct. If not, then I apologize. But all the golfers knew what they were doing. They were all wearing red for Tiger Woods, and that's a very smart thing. Another team that wears red that's doing a very dumb thing, Bert. The Houston Rockets today on March 2nd announced that they will indeed retire the number 13 of the one and only James Harden, which is ridiculous. Bro, everybody should have their jersey retired. Everybody should have a jersey retired now. If James Harden can have his jersey retired, anybody can have their jersey retired
while he's still playing for another team. Like, that's
yes. And they return. I don't know when they probably won't do it this season. I know he returns to Houston for the first time since the trade tomorrow. That would be March 3rd. Brooklyn plays Houston in Houston. Houston's not very good. They've lost their last 11 games. That's over. But probably because that number sucks and they want to forget about it. Listen, yeah, I mean, there's better ways to do it. They need to, like, I don't know what the opposite of retire or raising it in the rafters, but instead of raising it in the rafters and retiring it, they should throw it in the trash and retire it, because James Harden has done nothing in that city except pad his entire stat line. And he will build a Hall of Fame resume. Yes, I said it. He will most likely be in the Hall of Fame because everybody's on his nuts, because he spent his entire career. Same thing with Carmelo. You can be a loser. You can be an absolute loser and do absolutely nothing in the NBA.
You can do that in any other sport too. It's all about personal stats when it comes to any type of Hall of Fame. The championships is what boosts your mediocre stats into Hall of Fame numbers, plain and simple.
Yeah. So that begs the question, Bert. Would you rather be a James Harden who has great individual accolades and virtually nothing postseason, or would you rather be like Robert Horry, somebody who has 7 rings, but he played a role, but he's not like a superstar. You know what I'm saying? Or it doesn't have to be Robert Horry, any superstar player, or not any Hall of Fame player who has 2 or 3 rings, who contributed minor and is in the Hall of Fame. Or would you rather be the man on a losing team, a perennial loser?
I mean, 6 and done, 6 and 1, half dozen in the other, right? So for me personally, I would
Bruce Bowen's a good example.
Yeah,
yes.
I would rather have the championship, because that as an athlete, that's what you're working towards. You don't know if you're going to be great, mediocre, or average until you're getting towards the twilight of your career. So I want those rings. And if I go like the guys like Dan Marino, the guys like maybe James Harden, the guys like Phillip Rivers, to go and put up those type numbers and work your ass off year over year over year, and still, come close. Dan Marino came very close to winning a Super Bowl, and to not get it, that would almost haunt me more. But the fallback is like, you're in the Hall of Fame. You get Jackie, you get a Hall of Fame ring. You're in there, you're in there forever. You die, you're in there no matter what. That's where it stays. So that's nice. But personally speaking, that I probably would want the ring. I would want that championship. And even if it means mediocrity, at least I have it. You can be a part of that atmosphere and say that you won it and what you've contributed towards it. So I think that's the route I'm going.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Seg is some. Mike says Seg is sometimes confused with segue. Seg is a verb that means to move without stopping from one topic, song, etc., to another. Segue, on the other hand, is trademark name for electric. Okay, so I was wrong, Mike. I apologize.
No, I mean you're right. What Mike said. Mike spelled segue like the
motorized,
but he meant segue as it was.
Oh, so he was wrong. Yeah, Mike. All right, there you go.
But we knew
that it looked. I knew that it looked wrong. It looked wrong. Adam says Houston Strip Club should hang his jersey from the Raptors. Absolutely. I won't debate that.
Watch that. I'd go watch that race into the Rafters.
Yeah. I want to be there. James Harden is absolutely a strip club Hall of Famer. Next stuff about sports, we're going to find out who are the strip
Top
club Hall of Famers. Lou Williams has to be on that list. He risked COVID in the bubble to go to a strip club, and he said that he was going to a funeral. So he's got to be on that list. But we'll figure it out. Yeah, we're gonna have that for you next week.
Last but not least, for me, well, I guess two, but we'll get to the one stuff about sports because the other one's going to kind of be broad in the topic. That's the U.S. gymnast coaching itself. But this morning, there is a horse trainer, and I know we don't cover horse racing a lot here and stuff about sports, but by all means, it is a sport. But famous horse trainer Gordon Elliott, who trained a Grand National winner Tiger Roll, I think it was twice over winner on that one, was actually photographed sitting on a dead horse taking a phone call. And that whole scene is under investigation. I'm assuming the horse died, or he put it down and decided to sit on it and take a phone call while he's sitting on a dead horse. Got to be honest, not a good look overall. Couldn't have
this isn't 2002, buddy. You can't do stuff like that anymore.
You can't keep doing shit like that.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Hey, did you see this? I know Corey, I meant to ask Corey about this, and I know he's kind of heard about this, but the Miami Dolphins released Kyle Van Noy, linebacker Kyle Van Noy, after signing a 4-year, like $51 million contract, and they cut him after year 1. Wow. What is happening here? I don't know the backstory here.
There's got to be something to it.
I mean, I looked at his numbers.
You think it's about like personality thing, maybe?
If it's a person, that's what it has to be. But if it is a personality thing, it can't be something that's well known. It has to be something that happened, behind the scenes that everybody's keeping quiet. He does come from the Patriot way, Patriot culture. So I'm sure he's keeping a lot of things close to the vest. But it's shocking to see a player get cut.
What was his guarantee?
I didn't see the guarantee. But either way, you're cutting 1 year into a 4-year deal. Something's wrong. Something's going on.
Yeah. Unless he had a light guarantee and the team was like, "Hey,
Very good, Ricky.
Very nice. Yeah.
At least he wasn't
beating a dead horse.
Yes, that's awesome. That is awesome. Yes. I was shocked when that happened. That happened. Today. I guess I'm all for players choosing their own destiny to a point. So if something happened behind the scenes that he wasn't happy with, and there are a lot of rumblings that the team as a whole is not happy with Tua Tagovailoa, and that they are clamoring for the Dolphins to take Justin Fields and move up and try to trade Tua. I read this today that the players, he was guaranteed. Ricky comes in, he's guaranteed
30, and you cut him after year 1. That's
wow.
Yeah, so there's something on that. Maybe we'll have more next week on that one.
They originally wanted to restructure. That's what I read. Yeah, okay, that's what it was. I read that he refused to do that, and so like I was saying, I'm all for players taking control of their own destiny.
Yeah,
that's $30 million, man. I'm not restructuring nothing.
Yeah, he's looking out for his best interest. They could have. And it sounds to me like if he had bargaining chips, they wanted him to restructure. No, he refused to be traded. It's in his contract. He can't be traded. That's fine. We'll cut you, but they're still eating the salary. So that's a player. I don't know what they saw or what they. It couldn't have been a personality issue if they had leverage against him, but. Man, I just think maybe they just wanted to move him. Maybe they're preparing something. Maybe they were looking for space.
Well, I think the no trade thing, I think that was the Deshaun Watson piece.
Okay.
The money has to fit. So, but he knows that the Houston Texans are a dumpster fire. And I think he saw what that would be like. And he was like, I'm not leaving. First off, I'm not leaving Miami for Houston. Yeah. And I'm a good player. So I'm not going to die in Houston. Sorry. I don't care how much money I'm getting paid. I don't have to go anywhere. Like, you guys signed this deal. So, good for him. He gets it. This works out for him where he gets cut. He still gets his $30 million. Then he gets to go sign a new deal. He can go sign a minor deal somewhere else because he's getting $30 million. I'm sure he'll try to maximize his money. But theoretically, if he wants to win, he could go to a team, and I'm just going to selfishly use Buffalo, for example. He can go to Buffalo for less money because we're a contender. We don't have all the money in the world, but he doesn't have to worry about that now. He can sign a year or 2 year deal with Buffalo and get paid out by Miami, the guarantee that he's owed, and then win in Buffalo, presumably. And then if he's a key piece to that, he can build himself, because he's young enough, get himself a nice big fat contract somewhere else down the line. He could be a mercenary for this year. If I was him, that's what I would do. I would look at the top 5 teams, the Kansas Cities, the Green Bays, the Saints, the Bills, whoever you want to throw in there, and go there for less money and try to win. That way, when you get a ring, you're a young player, that just boosts up your next contract. So if I was him, I would look to do that if I was him. So
yeah, no, absolutely. That's weird. I mean, look, sucks for the Dolphins, but it looks like they're trying to make moves to make the right move, and that's to try to land Watson in itself, which I think would be an awesome move for them, because I don't think 2 is the way, but we can have a whole show on that, and we will heading into next football season too. But I'm sure more to come. So last thing I'll mention, because we'll do it kind of quickly, unless, do you have anything else?
No, I'm good.
Okay, so last thing I'll talk about before we move on, because I want to get to both of our top 5 lists, because I think that's going to be awesome. But I'm sure, as most of you saw, last week, former U.S. Olympic gymnastics coach John Geddert committed suicide on Thursday after the Michigan Attorney General's office said that he would be charged with sexual assault and multiple incidents of physical abuse against dozens of his young female athletes. The world of gymnastics just took yet again another deplorable hit in the sport altogether that we already knew was very hard physically on athletes, and especially young athletes, because they started at such a young age. And after everything they went through for Larry Nassar, they yet again took another blow with someone who was actually applauded as a U.S. gymnastics coach. And a lot of it's not good. 24 counts of, 24 counts in the Eaton County District Court was what brought against him. So charges included anything from 1 count of first-degree criminal sexual conduct, which is a life offense felony, 14 counts of human trafficking, which was predominantly related to forced labor causing injury, and a count of continuing a criminal enterprise. Continuing a criminal enterprise associated with a gymnastics coach and his own personal gym and company, gymnastics company, that I guess it was billed as one of these will produce Olympians, which is why so many parents, I'm sure, pushed their children into this. Absolutely despicable. And of course, he was facing some of those charges because he actually lied and made misleading statements to authorities about the Larry Nassar for his sexual criminal misconduct case in itself. So, what doesn't scream I'm innocent? Killing yourself.
Yeah, 100%. This guy, he wins the nasty award for life. I mean,
yeah. It seems like every month we got to do this to one of these guys. It's just like, come on, can anybody act right anymore? Like, I've seen.
Obviously, they're not going to release the names of these girls, but I've read that some of these girls were as young as 12 and 13. I mean, it's disgusting, bro. Disgusting. It couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Thankfully, he's off the face of this earth. We don't have to deal with him no more. But it's just the world of gymnastics needs an overhaul. They need oversight.
Oh yeah,
big time. I mean,
well, I think this is the start. This is the smoke that's going to lead a lot of them out. Because that's one of those sports where, you dig deeper and you find this corruption, and it really stems from, obviously these sick individuals put in these positions of power for these young athletes, which is awful. And, the parents, unfortunately, are none the wiser, and they just want the best interests of their child. So they're sitting here thinking like, oh, well, they've promised that my daughter or my son's good enough and they're going to be an Olympian, and I trust them, and this is what my child wants, to be on an Olympic stage and so on. And they just get caught up in this deceitful process. It's absolutely disgusting in itself. So, but I mean, I'll tell you what, I got the news update on Thursday that he was charged. I was like, holy shit, because I remember like following the Larry Nassar thing and how many athletes came forward. And then when each athlete had their turn, or victim had their turn to speak in court, and then thinking of the fathers, like one of the fathers rushed him to try to physically assault him in court, which if I were the bailiffs, I would have been like, oh, go ahead, is what it is. But I was hoping this dude would get that same day in court where he'd have to face everything that he did. Hours later, dude fucking kills himself. And albeit, an ends to means, but you kind of wish that the justice was served more so for the families and that they actually got an explanation for all this. But nevertheless, here we are.
Yeah. Rest in peace. We don't care about you. I feel shouts and prayers to the victims. I took my daughter out of gymnastics because I couldn't leave my kid. Like, I have to watch them at all times. There's no way I'm leaving them with anybody, any type of coach. It's sad that we've come to that part, this part. You used to be able to leave your kids with people, but now you can't do that. So I would never sign my daughter up for something where I couldn't sit there and watch them. Like, she used to go to dance and the parents weren't allowed to like stay there. And I'm like, nope. And I don't care if they were all women there. Like, just, who knows?
It's unsettling, like, God forbid, it's, I'm with you on that one, man. And, my daughter, we're just starting like ice skating lessons, just getting really good. And there are parents there, that do just leave. They'll leave for the half hour they're on the ice and stuff. That's not me. I'm front and center. I need to watch her at all times. It's call me a helicopter parent. I don't care what you say. I'm making sure my kid is safe at all times in itself. So
I like to be like I think I'm a fly on the wall parent. I'm like the guy, like, I'm not going to sit there and inject myself in the practice. I'll just be in the corner and watch, but my eyes need to be on my kids at all times. And if they're in a situation where I can't be, then she just won't do it. I mean, that's just the bottom line.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so moving on. Let's quickly do baseball real quick because there's not really much to say other than spring training has been underway. Have you absorbed much baseball lately?
Apart from the updates on my phone, I haven't had a chance to actually sit down and watch a game. And not out of my own best interest. I do want to. I think when the Yanks were playing this weekend, I was just out and about doing weekend type stuff. And then even yesterday and today, I working from home, as is the majority of individuals with an office job in a pandemic. And I had the opportunity to at least put it on in the background. But my week has been so busy, I haven't even had a chance to really, really indulge. So I'm hoping the rest of the week and into the weekend, I'll at least catch a game or two because I'm really looking forward to it. I need something to break the monotony of me of hoping my Rangers win a game every once in a while. So I need another sport to come back to help me balance out the performance of my hockey team right now. Although they are winning, but
I was going to say, your Yankees look all right, man. My Mets dropping 2 games. We haven't even put up a run. Pitching's been good, which is, to me, the most important thing. Pitching has been looking solid. It's just we're not producing any runs. The White Sox looked impressive. The one big thing with Fernando Tatis earning that huge contract, obviously spring training doesn't mean a lot, but when the regular season does start in 28 days from now, I really hope the Padres win early because that contract's going to look. It happened with the Phillies and Bryce Harper. Obviously, I don't think the Bryce Harper thing was a mistake yet. He has a 13-year contract. Like, I mean, come on. Oh, they did win today. I'm sorry. Yes, I didn't see. I forgot who they play. I thought they lost. I lost to the Marlins twice. Maybe they didn't play the Marlins twice. I know they lost to the Marlins 0-2. Did they play? I know they played the Astros today. I thought they lost that game, but hey, if they won, fuck it.
So
there we go. McNeil. Yes. There we go. Squirrel. Let's go.
So here's my thought on spring training. And for me, it's your big money guys, your starters are going to be, that's fine. Let's give the farm system guys a shot and see if anybody surprises us, especially when it comes down to pitching or even any type of position players too. But for me, it's get the reps in, stay healthy. That's it. Get a feel for it. Stay healthy. Like, use this as a slow warm up to the season. Cause I can't tell you as a Yankee fan, how many, spring training, probably at least the last 2, if not 3 years, we've had individuals go down for like calf strains or, like somebody high ankle sprains and shit like that carries into the season. And then there it is in itself. So I'm honestly at this point, just hoping everybody stays healthy no matter what. Just warm it up and get going for the season. That's all you need.
And I definitely tuned in to the Angels, and it wasn't for Mike Trout. It was for Shohei Ohtani, who has been dealing with a lot of injuries. And I am actually shocked and surprised that they're still allowing him to hit and pitch. But he pitched very well. He clocked over 100 today. or yesterday the game was yesterday. Again, they tied the White Sox. The
They're
scores
playing
don't
right
really,
now. Actually, they're playing the Reds right now.
they're playing the Reds right now.
Mhm.
So this was yesterday, or the day before yesterday. The scores don't really matter in spring league.
No.
But he scored twice. He clocked over 100 pitching. I remember when he was coming out, and there was a lot of hype about him, and it got me watching Japanese baseball because he was that nice. I think he's the future of baseball. I mean, you got a pitcher who can play like that. That's exactly why they should allow pitchers. They should. This is my argument against the double designated hitter.
Mhm.
If the pitchers can produce like Shohei, I mean, Jesus,
But they can't.
They can't, and
They
that's
can't.
why it's hard. But I think there should be an option. Like if you want, if a team wants the designated hitter, then have it. Whether regardless. And if you want your pitcher to go out there, if your pitcher Shohei, and Shohei shouldn't be limited to half the league of teams because he wants to. Like that was his problem coming in. He wanted to play for certain teams, big market teams, but he could only pitch and hit in certain teams. So. If he can do that, if they can have a choice, they can do that. My feeling is every team's going to need depth pitching wise. We didn't have a lot of innings thrown. Yeah, I mean, it's a shorter season. I actually like that it's a shorter season because I think you can carry more pitchers healthy. Actually, no, you probably could carry less pitchers. No, that would be the logic behind it, and they wouldn't have to pitch as much.
I don't think you should ever turn down pitchers. Like if you want a 4 or 5 man rotation, I mean, if you have everybody healthy, go for it. Make sure they're all in a rhythm in itself. I mean, look, it sounds to me like he had a problem playing in some of these big market leagues is because he wanted to do both. But I mean, there comes to a point where if you want to play in that, like you can't. Like you're going to have teams looking out for their best assets, and if they don't want your pitchers batting, I mean, it is what it is. First off, pitchers don't get enough reps batting. To even be a factor unless they're taking BP every single day. But you figure on rotation, every 4 days, or every 4 games. And even at that, even starters maybe make it through 6, 7 innings. The good ones. So, I mean, what do you up really? Maybe 2, 3 times. So, I mean, I don't know. I still think I'd rather a DH in both leagues. It's great that we have an anomaly here that can actually crush the ball and hit well, but I mean, he's one out of how many others that came before him. That's just not, it's just a not factor. To me, it's useless. Like, why bother?
Because here's my argument against it. He needs to be showcased as much as possible because he can change the narrative, right? Not a lot of 7-footers should be out there shooting threes until the first 7-footer that was shooting threes went out there and did it and was showcased doing it. Now all the 7-footers shoot 3-pointers in the NBA. Yeah,
but the only mind you can change is, I mean, first off, the AL is never going to go pitchers. I mean, they're always going to be designated hitter. You mean you sign guys even on the twilight of their career because they can still crush the ball, because that's at least you can squeeze that much baseball out of them, right? Even if they have a noodle arm or can't really do much in the field. So for me, I totally get what you're saying. It's just you're going up against a mountain of arguments saying that it should go the other way.
Oh no, you're right. I'm absolutely trying to make a rule out of an outlier. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I totally get it. It ain't happening.
Yeah, I like it. I just want it. So yeah, you heard it here on Stuff About Sports. Bert says continue COVID so that MLB can have the bubble and force double DHs in both leagues. That's what we need.
Hey, double DHs, huh?
DA, I love it. So moving on from baseball, Bert.
Yes.
NFL. It's crazy. Who would have thought we got here? I mean, a few years ago, we had the Legion of Boom. We had Pete Carroll, the ageless wonder. We had Russell Wilson. He's adorable. He married Sierra. And now here we are.
He's adorable.
He's adorable. Little guy. Just a little guy.
He's friends with Macklemore,
Friends with Macklemore, just hanging around. He was like a little square friend that you had that some reason hung around all the hot chicks. And now here we are. Russell Wilson about to find a new team, apparently. I mean, yeah. I don't know. It seems like that's where we're headed. So let's assume that his days in Seattle, which I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around. Mm-hmm. But let's just play. Let's have fun. We're going to have fun the rest of the show. Mm-hmm. Let's assume that he's not going to be in Seattle this coming season. Mm-hmm. Where is Russ going to cook next season? What's the best place for him?
Oh man, I didn't give this much thought. Philly,
Mm,
Pittsburgh, New York, the blue
which
New York.
the blue New York?
The
Oh,
blue New York.
yeah.
Look, Russ has chips in his pile, right? So he's going to
Mhm.
be able to pick and choose where he wants to go. He's got a clause. So I mean, he can say, yes, I want to trade, but only if it's to these cities. So he's going to want to go where it gives him the best chance to get another title, plain and simple. The Jets ain't it for anybody right now. It's just not
Right.
happening. Miami could be in there too, and I think they touched upon this in the divide. I know Corey had mentioned, he put Miami in his list, which could absolutely be an option. It's just whether or not Seattle wants more from the Dolphins than they're willing to let go. And I still think Russ has a lot of football left in him. I do, and I can see him in teal in the Dolphins. But if I'm the Dolphins right now, my focus is going to be on getting Watson over Wilson, plain and simple.
Yeah.
He just seems overall better.
Watson's 25. Fully believe he's just title chasing. I'm with you, Ricky, which is exactly why the team that makes the most sense, and honestly, the only team. And I know that there was a list floating out there of 4 teams that he would prefer to be traded to. But I'll tell you the one team that is ready right now, and that is the New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees is done. Jameis Winston is Jameis Winston. We've seen. I mean, Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson. I mean, all right, enough. The Saints are ready to win now on every aspect. And I know somehow, hilariously, he has the Cowboys on that list. Jesus. He has the Chicago Bears on that list somehow.
Wait, hold on now. So he's got the Cowboys on that list. Dak doesn't have a contract.
What could you? So all right. So it's a sign and trade, right? You sign and trade.
Yeah, it's a sign and trade.
That would be interesting. Now, okay, you have.
I can see Dak in Seattle. I can even see him being successful there too.
All right. So here's the problem that you're running into, and here's why Russell Wilson is in this situation. It's actually the situation that I'm dreading my Buffalo Bills to be in. You choose one guy, the quarterback, to pay, and eventually you don't have enough money to pay the guys around your quarterback. That's exactly what happened in Seattle. You have a small window. You overpay, and I get you have to pay the quarterback, but that's why you have to have a quarterback like Tom Brady, like Drew Brees, these guys who are great that understand how the business works. They were losing the Legion of Boom to injuries, and so they decided to put all their money into Russell Wilson. And now they did that. They lost the Legion of Boom. They paid Russell Wilson, but now they don't have enough money to pay anybody else. And they could never quite recover. And my Buffalo Bills are about to enter that situation. Now, granted, they have 2 years left with Josh Allen, but we have a good defense. We have a lot of good defensive players that we're going to have to lose or sacrifice. And we're probably going to see the start of that this season, that they're going to cut because they have to start saving money now. And this is the trickiness of the business of football, where you have to worry about your quarterback so much that it's actually a detriment to building your championship roster. So the Cowboys can absolutely trade for Russell Wilson if they think that he's worth more than Dak. But then eventually the money you have tied into Zeke and the money you have tied into Amari Cooper and the money you haven't tied into Dak is going to mean that you're going to have to sacrifice somewhere. And you've already paid the skill players. And you know me, Bert, I don't think you should pay any skill player.
No, yeah.
But now you're not going to have an offensive line. You're not going to have a defensive line. So what is it going to matter? You have 3 stars and what? So I mean,
they're going to try to do what they've been doing is really, every year they make these signings and they try to increase to get the championship. Look, this year, needless to say, had Dak not gone down to that gruesome injury, they would have ran away with the NFC East, and they actually could have been competitive in the playoffs. But hey, shit happens. Yeah, that window is closing, but I think that's going to be the model of the NFL. Let's strike now, and if it doesn't happen, blow it up and rebuild.
Yeah. Harry asked, can the Saints actually trade for Russ? So sure. Drew Brees' contract is up, right?
Yeah.
So there's money there. Then they can leverage, I guess the first round picks are worth something in terms of how the salary cap works. It's probably going to cost you 3. So,
Yeah.
if you're willing to, but think about it. That's why I think the Saints would be perfect. They don't need 3 first round picks. They have every position locked up, except the quarterback for the future. So, give up 3 first-round picks for Russ, I think is worth it when you have Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas and all these other good defensive players and really good offensive linemen. I think you do that for a chance. Let's give him a 3-year window to win a title. I think that's feasible. I think you would do that.
Yeah. No, I mean, we'll see. I mean, he makes a good point. It would have to be picks because you don't want it to really touch anybody else. And we'll see if Seattle goes for it in itself. But who knows? I was more shocked at this than the fact that, I mean, obviously Russ came out of a meeting so butthurt where he's like, yo, I need to get out of here. I never would have thought I would see the day that he'd be this burned by it. And it's not like he's headed into, really the last couple of years of his career or even his contract where he would want to start looking for something else. I mean, and this wasn't really on the horizon at any time before this meeting last week. So I need to know what was said and what happened for him to be like, yo, I'm good. I'm out. Like, I don't need this. And even more so, if they can't move him and he's got to stay there, what's the dynamic going to be like? Is he going to like playing there? Is he going to want anything else,
The first thing they got to do is Sean Payton has to get over his boner for Taysom Hill.
Oh, you mean the Saints? Yeah.
Yeah, for the Saints. But I think it can be done. Do you package one of your quarterbacks, Jameis and 3 first-rounders or Taysom and 3 first-rounders for Russ? That's the question. Giving up 3 first-rounders for anybody. I mean, I guess if you expect to go deep in the playoffs every year, the first rounders don't really matter, especially and Seattle's really looking for a quarterback, but Alex Smith is going to get released. Ryan Fitzpatrick is getting released.
So, you just named 2 quarterbacks that I don't think really have a market anywhere for a starting position.
But what I'm saying is, so if you're Seattle and you're getting 3 first-round picks, you can bring in those guys, 2 proven veterans. Alex Smith was good this year. Ryan Fitzpatrick was really good this year. You can bring them in to at least hold you down while you shuffle your first-round picks and decide who's going to be your future, because you're not going to get anybody who's going to come in and help you right now unless, some other magnificent trade happens, right? Unless you can get a Marcus Mariota or something like that. And I don't even know if that gets it done. So New Orleans is going to be pretty tight up. They have a ton of offensive free agents hitting the market. Yeah, I figured. Yeah, it's a tough situation. I highly doubt that he's going to go with the Saints. What I'm saying is that's the best place for him to go. I see the Cowboys now that I'm really looking at their roster. I'm not sure how their contract situation, but I already know they paid Zeke and they paid Amari. I mean, you're going to have to pay Russell. And then at that point, what do you do? Chicago's interesting. You have Khalil Mack, you have Allen Robinson. I mean, they need a running back. I'm not sure I don't know if that offensive line looked worse because Mitch Trubisky and Nick Foles was there or what. But, I mean, you're in a division with Aaron Rodgers. So what do you do?
It is what it is. Yeah.
So
who knows?
We'll see. Has to be a place where the offense is solid. Another place, maybe not the weapons, but I think Russ obviously shows that he can compensate for weapons. I was going to say the Oakland Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders is not a bad spot. They had ranked one of the best offensive lines in football.
They have Derek Carr though.
Trade him. Trade Derek Carr in 2 first.
From a value perspective, I still think Derek Carr. I mean, Derek Carr is not as good as Russell Wilson, but I don't know if I'd make the swap out. To be honest with you, I'd ride with Derek. I mean, he showed promise. I know he's been in the league 3 years at this point, maybe even 4.
No more. It's probably he's probably on year 6.
No, is he?
Yeah, he's got to be, bro. He's been in the league for a little while, probably longer than that. Let's see, because he just signed a 4-year deal. I mean, he's got to be in the league. Let's see, 2014 he was drafted. 1, 2, 3.
Damn.
4, year 7 years.
All right,
about to be year 8. Yeah, trade him. Yeah,
trade him.
Trade his ass. Yeah, for real. Get him out of here. That would be where I'll go. The Raiders' problem is their secondary. They started off hot and then they realized, oh wait, we can throw on them. Their secondary is trash.
Yeah.
So you probably don't want to give up the picks because you probably need some cornerbacks and some secondary players, but we'll see.
Who knows? We'll be watching. It's Russgate. That's really what it's about. I mean, between Deshaun and Russell, I mean, we have 2 really hot quarterbacks that could move. So hopefully we'll see some movement because there's nothing more exciting than a good quarterback being traded to a new team, and just in anticipation for what he's going to do in that market. So we'll see what happens.
All right, fun time, Bert.
Yes.
Let's do.
Do you want to do? I was going to ask. Do you want to do video games and then push sports to next week, or fun teams to next week?
Yeah, let's just do video games and we'll do fun teams next week. All right. So we'll finish up with top favorite sports video games. We'll do the fun team rankings next week. Bert.
Yes.
This was a fun thing to debate because I had all types of nostalgia. Okay.
Yeah, dude, me too. I actually had to go and Google some because I was like, oh man, I remember what was the official title of this one. So
if you see New England trade for Derek Carr, I'm scared of New England. I think they were like, okay, this Cam thing is not working. I think they're actually going to try to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo and try to help San Francisco get Deshaun Watson and try to get Jimmy Graps back, and then I think you'll see that. Yeah. That's the most likely of the pair. So, all right, top 5 sports games. Ricky comes in with NHL 94, Triple Play 2001. I had that game. NFL Blitz. I had that for N64 and PlayStation. Everybody had NBA Jam. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Any version. Yes. Skateboarding is sports. I'll give it to you. Yes, it is. Skateboarding is more sports than football is. I mean, not football. I'm sorry. Golf is. I'll tell you that. So, those are very good picks. The Tony Hawk game, I'm with you.
It's on my list. Yeah.
It's on my list. So at number 5, I'll go first, bro. I'll set this thing off. Number 5, Dave Mirra, BMX, the original PlayStation. Loved it. Shout out, rest in peace to Dave Mirra. Dave Mirra, BMX is on my list.
Nice. So I went, a lot of people aren't even going to agree with me on this one. Wii Sports. You want to know why? It was it was fun. You got your friends involved. It was the first. I just remember the home run derby. You hold the controller and you can just literally like just whack it like a bat. And it was awesome. So, when I think sports games, it's on my top 5. It's interactive. You can make, a party out of it, play with friends, whatever you want. And it was timeless. So you can just do the same thing over and over again and have a different result every single time. So it was cool.
Fond memories of being on Barksdale Air Force Base and the Fire Station 2 primarily, and Wii Golf was heavy in the rotation. So yeah, shout out to them. I'm going to go with NFL number 4, NFL 2K5, the cover with Terrell Owens on the cover for the Sega Dreamcast. It was the main competition for Madden back in the day, but NFL 2K5 was absolutely the best football game I've ever played. It was super in depth at the time. It was so realistic in terms of what you could do. It was ahead of its time. And of course, EA's big money got in the way, and the ESPN contracts messed it up for the 2K Sports. Obviously, 2K Sports came back, but the football never came back for 2K. But NFL 2K5 was awesome. Wii Sports was a great workout.
It was a great workout.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Harry jumps in. Griffey Jr. for N64.
Yeah.
I'll get to that one in a second. Right game, wrong console. NBA Courtside 2 featuring Kobe Bryant. I had that game. Yes. NBA 2K3. Yes, that was a good game for GameCube. MLB 2K11, PS3, Wii Bowling. And I think Wii Bowling goes with Wii Sports. But yeah, Wii Golf, Wii Bowling was great.
Number 4 for me. And this, you want to talk about nostalgia. When I put this on the list, vividly remember staying up way too late, creating my own wrestler, getting them in storylines. I'm talking about WWF No Mercy.
Yes.
I think it was Nintendo 64.
It was 64.
And it was, dude, it was legit. You had, you could pull out weapons from the crowd or under the mat. You can just, get back in the ring. I mean, it was interactive. It was the best multiplayer wrestling game too, because you can get, 3 of your other buddies have like a 2-way tag team match or just Royal Rumble or whatever you wanted. But the best part was creating your own wrestler and designing whatever wrestler it was going against the greats that you had idolized through and through. So that's number 4 for me.
All right. So number 3 for me, an EA Sports game, Fight Night Round 4 for the Nintendo 64. I had Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali on the cover.
Wow.
Best boxing game ever created. I wasn't even into boxing, but Mike Tyson was on the cover. It was the first time you can get Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson in the same video game. So Mike chimes in off your No Mercy take, WWF WrestleMania 2000, and yes, WCW versus NWO was a good one. That was a really good one. I used to go nuts with La Parka, with the chair shots. Harry says No Mercy had some many glitches though. Yeah, but when you're a kid, you don't notice that stuff, man.
No.
It was all about creating your own guy. Like I had a bunch of guys I created. I had a guy for every weight class. I had a hardcore guy. I had a European championship guy. I had a heavyweight championship guy. So shout out to them.
Yeah. Number 3 for me, it was already mentioned, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Anyone too, dude. I remember just honestly going through in different consoles too. The one I love the best, I think it was 2 or 3 for GameCube, and just being able to honestly, just it was so cool doing the tricks, going through, earning bonus points. I think one of them like had an expansion where you could actually play as Wolverine. They had a partnership with Marvel or something, so you had Wolverine on a skateboard too, which was pretty awesome. That's awesome. I definitely put Tony Hawk's Pro Skate on there. It was just a fun game to play.
So I'm going. This is back to childhood, and I'm going to go with Super Street Fighter 2 for the Super Nintendo as my number 2 game. They expanded the roster. I mean, it was always the default game. Like when I had nothing else to play, you could just go out there, you could button mash, and Spider-Man was the guest character. Oh, that's awesome. It was like somebody mentioned NBA Jam earlier. You remember you could be Bill Clinton? That was great. But yeah. Well, what the hell was I just talking about?
You're talking about it's your number 2, Super Street Fighter?
Yes, Super Street Fighter. You had like the secret, it's just the graphics were better. That was like when Marvel vs. Capcom and the arcades became popular, and they switched the animation style to that, and it was just like I just love Super Street Fighter Alpha, I think it was, because you had the Akuma boss, and it was you just button mash. You could just play it. It didn't matter how many times you played it. It was always fun. So
just mindless, and you just go to,
Yes, absolutely.
Number 2 for me, NHL Hits, and I'll preface this by saying I loved the NHL 2K games, and I thought it was great, especially the ones that came out later for like Xbox and stuff. But NHL Hits for GameCube was for me just the most fun hockey game. You had first off, these huge hits that there was like this crowd roaring and interaction. You can get on hot streaks, but also you could fight. Like if you kept hitting the same player over and over again, it would automatically start a fight for you too, and actually like fight and box them out too, which I thought was awesome. I mean, it wasn't your standard hockey game. It was like 3-on-3 going too, which just made it even more high scoring. But overall, absolutely loved that game.
And of course, the number 1 favorite video game for your boy has to be Super Mario 3, the one where he could turn into the little raccoon guy.
How was that a sport game?
Oh, shoot. Yeah, my bad. It's not a sport game. Yeah, well, no, it was a sport game. There was like a little soccer thing in there. No?
I mean, I don't know. I don't really remember. I mean,
no, I'm fucking with you. Favorite sport game all time obviously has to be Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, buddy.
Yeah,
Come on now.
I thought about that one. I left it off because I didn't play it enough, but yeah, I mean, I knew it was going to make someone's list.
Well, growing up poor and black in New Jersey, we didn't have many games, and of course I had to play my dad's games, and he was big into boxing, and of course he had Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, and it was the only game we had for a long time. Actually, we had for Nintendo when we had an old Nintendo, we had Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, we had the original Super Mario. Now I was going to include Dunk Hunt, even though dunk hunting,
thought about that.
To me, I'm going to upset the females. I consider like hunting the same as cheerleading, and the same as gymnastics, and the same as like some of these, like a lot of the Olympic sports. Honestly, it's not really a sport. It's more of a competition. I consider duck hunting a competition, like fishing. Like there's a lot of big fishing tournaments down here in North Carolina, and they're like, oh yeah, the sport of fishing. I mean, sport. Yeah, sorry about that, Ricky. So I've been drinking this Scotch whiskey. This is like my 4th glass tonight.
Yeah.
And I was deciding between Dunk Hunt, and then Mario came out of my head because some people are commenting on YouTube, and I don't think you guys can see it. I can see it. Like they're giving me regular games, so I don't think they got that it was sports games.
Okay.
and I was like reading some of them. I was like, yeah, Super Mario 3 was awesome. MJ versus Bird on Nintendo. Little known basketball game. Glenn Rice in the zone 98 for the Nintendo 64. And Jet Set Moto. If anybody remembers that game, it was
Moto.
Was it Jet Set Moto? It was basically the Road Rash. It was basically Road Rash with jet skis, and it was on the original PlayStation. And that game was actually really fun.
I think I remember something like that. Bowling.
I'm guessing you meant Wii bowling. Yes.
Yeah, no, that awesome. Yeah, my number one was NBA Jams. Honestly, it has to be. I mean, you have to find that even like Mike Tyson's knockout or punch out, that they would have to make everybody's lists in itself. They're just these great nostalgic games that you just can't leave off. And MJ, it's just so iconic. So yeah, I mean, look, the top 5 sports video games. If anybody has anything else, certainly.
Yeah, I'm compiling a list.
Are you?
Yeah, there's we got NBA Jam listed multiple times. NBA Live 98 for Super Nintendo. NBA Street Volume 2 is on this list. F1. I'm not a big racing guy. Never really was into racing. But there's somebody put F1. FIFA 2015 is on somebody's. Somebody mentioned NBA 2K. They just said NBA 2K, so I'm guessing you meant the franchise. I'm not a big NBA 2K. I was an NBA Live guy, but those games got pretty bad. Need for Speed. I guess they're putting racing in all those. WWE. Here Comes the Pain is also mentioned here. So a lot of good sports games. Ken Griffey Jr. Now the Super Nintendo one is the one I was thinking of. That was the good one. Ken Griffey Jr. Slugfest for the Super Nintendo. So breaking news: NBA All-Star 3-point contestants Steph Curry, Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Devin Booker, Zach LaVine. And if it wasn't at halftime, I probably wouldn't be watching it. Mike Powers, 1080 snowboarding was dope. Yeah, that one was pretty
that was a good one. Yeah,
that was a good.
Really good one, actually.
Need for Speed Underground was great racing. There was one game. It might have been Need for Speed Underground because it was like right when the first Fast and Furious came out, and it was like, you pick a car and you race, and you were able to get like all the good parts. And there was one of them that was really good that I enjoyed. I don't know if it was Need for Speed or Gran Turismo. That's what it was. Gran Turismo. One of them. One of the newer. When they went to 3D and all that stuff. So that was good, man. Thank you. Keep sharing that on social media and everybody share your games, and we'll talk about more later. Next week we will do our top 5 favorite or fun rankings. We're going to rank the fun teams heading into the next couple seasons, the next couple years in sports. Spoiler alert: the San Diego Padres is on my list. So.
Yeah, I think they're going to be on mine too. But yeah, I mean, all sports, the most fun teams to watch out for. We don't know if they're going to be winners. They could be trending in that direction, but at least you'll have fun watching them all around.
All right, Bert, you got anything else for the people?
Good to go. See y'all next week.
Absolutely. See you next week, everybody. Have a wonderful week. We will see you next Tuesday. Take care of each other and all that good stuff. Please like, share, subscribe. Join us on Instagram at Stuff About Sports. Find us, search for us, Stuff About Sports on Facebook, and then the Give Us a Shot Network on YouTube and www.giveusashot.network, and hit /shop on that, and you can get the Thank You Tebow shirts, and those proceeds will go to Tebow's charity. Everybody take care of each other, and we'll talk to you next Tuesday.